Hi folks, HR Funk here, and I am excited today because I am coming to you from House of Pain Munitions. And in fact, I've got a guest with me today. We're going to be having a talk about House of Pain, how it came to be, the fine folks who work here, and I am extremely happy to have Sean Payne with me today. And Sean, first off, I want to say thank you for being such a friend of the channel, you and all the guys here at House of Pain. There's a lot of content that I would not have been able to bring to all of you over the course of the last year and a half were it not for the assistance that I got from House of Pain. And also, thanks for appearing as a guest today. And I'm wondering if you could tell everybody just kind of how House of Pain got started, where you got the concept. I mean, it doesn't seem like something where you just wake up one day and as you're drinking a cup of coffee, think, I think I'll start an ammo business. So,
well, first, thank you, Howard, for all the publicity and everything else you do on the channel. We appreciate it. We get great feedback. Some of your followers are some of our best customers. So thank you very much first. We started the company. Well, let me start with how we started. I was an avid shooter about 2019, having a hard time finding good ammo. Consistent ammo, the same brand of ammo to shoot reliably. So I did some reloading on myself, on my own. Fast forward a little bit, hard time getting ammo. I found a buddy of mine that had a friend that was in need. He was a vet, did 3 or 4 tours in Afghanistan, needed some stable employment. He's married, has a couple kids. I told him, let's put him on my payroll, just make my ammo for a little bit, right? Let me see if we can do that. So we brought him on. I put him in the basement office of my office, and we kind of ate lunch together all the time, and he just cranked ammo out, and we had a good time. It was great. It was fantastic. Leading forward to that, he got really good at it. I'd come back and say, hey, this is too dirty. It's not flat enough. We need to get it a little bit tighter. And then he got really darn good at it. So I'm like, shoot. What do we do with this? Because now he's cranking out 3,000 to 5,000 rounds a day. It's way more than I can even possibly shoot. So after getting to talk with Eric Bigham, is the gentleman we're speaking of, I'm like, do you have a buddy that's mechanical minded and we can start automating the process a little more and pulling on 2 machines and maybe get licensed federally and actually start selling our ammo to other people? Because there was definitely a market for it at the time. So we hired on another guy. We got through all the licensing. Took about 6 to 8 months to get all that licensing. From there, this time we're at like North Royalton, Ohio. From there, we had to get a property to tie the FFL to because it's heavily tied to the location of the property. And the closest municipality that was easy to move in turnkey was Mohican Township, which is over in Jeromesville, our old location. So we bought that property, we moved in, we were moving in a 3-car garage, probably a little bit smaller than the building we're in right now. We hired on a couple of vets, so we had 4 vets at the time. Started growing the operation and making tons of ammo. I signed on to build another 60 by 40 building on the back of Jeromesville like you've seen. Before that was done, this property actually came available, which is just under 10 acres, has 3 huge outbuildings. Another house on the side, which we'll probably get into later. But a much better fit for us to be able to grow to the size we need to in order to, employ as many veterans as we possibly can.
and I'm glad you said that because I meant to say that in the intro. This is a brand new facility. House of Pain has moved from where they've been for the last year and a half. And before we get all done today, we're going to take a tour of this new facility and you'll get to see some of what goes on here and how they do it. Now, something we were talking about off camera before we started the interview was the fact that House of Pain started in 2019 and was licensed in 2020, is that correct?
Yes.
And of course, everyone knows after surviving the last couple of years that that's right about the time the whole COVID pandemic got to the point where it became a very big concern and businesses were closing, and specifically in the firearms world and the ammunition world, there was a shortage of components, there was a shortage of natural resources. Just starting out, just having started the company, that had to be just a tremendously difficult thing to work through. And if you would mind telling everyone just kind of how you got through that, what you did, what it took to survive that as a company.
Well, we took our lumps with it, being so new and learning on the fly. We definitely learned a lot during that period. For one, we did reload once fired ammunition back in the day when we were first starting, just because components were so hard to find. Fast forward to now, we don't do any once fired stuff because of multiple reasons. But back in the day when you couldn't find any but our brass, it was the only option to keep those guys loading. So we decided to purchase a bunch of once fired brass and load it out and do all that. Now we ended up recalling 90% of that ammo, like first 6 months we were into it. Sold off all our brass and just went to new loaded brass in order to maintain the quality that we're looking for with sub MOA, clean, acting exactly the same every time. We find that once fired brass, you don't know if it's been fired one time from, just a guy testing a gun, or if it's the 50th time some guy's been reloading and that was, he left it at a range somewhere in Iowa. It's just too hard to track and to get to the sub MOA that we're really looking for. We outsourced primers is another learning thing that we did. We went to Cervasio primers out of Argentina. We ordered a pretty good quantity of those in. We loaded them up, no problem whatsoever. We tested the heck out of them. They ran great. Fast forward 6 months after that, and we were still using the same primers. We started to have some corrosion problems with the outside of the lacquer on the primer. Started to have some no fires on some ammo. So again, we pulled all that stuff off the market. We took it back, and then we've since gone to strictly CCI primers for the most part. If we do sub them out, we sub them out with either Fiocchi or Federal, or we try to stay American as we possibly can on components. It's a little easier said than done with the way the markets are, but right now the markets are pretty stable, especially for powder primers. Brass is a little iffy on some NATO cartridges, but some learning lessons along the way for sure with COVID. The only good thing with that is ammo. You couldn't make enough ammo during COVID, right? Everybody was buying everything up. I wish we could have capitalized on that more. If we were in our game that we are right now, we could have definitely capitalized a lot more on it rather than putting a product out and pulling it back because of unforeseen failures.
And along with all of that, you've also got the competition from a lot of very large, well-established ammunition companies. Do you find yourself having to sort of carve out a niche for House of Pain, or does the word get out more and more and you have more and more people coming as customers? How has that all gone?
So I'll have to give credit to my wife on this. During the whole thing, we were always looking at a way to give back to first responders, vets like yourself, Howard, for just giving us the freedoms that we enjoy on the daily. We started out with just big, doing one guy to help them out. I would talk to my wife regularly about it and say, hey, how can we employ more people like this? How can we make a difference instead of just bitching about it to each other? So we would go back and forth, and my big hang up on the company was we're never going to be able to compete with Federal, Winchester, all these big guys that have a machine, 3 times the size of our whole building, just cranking out ammo. They probably got 1 or 2 engineers running the machine. I want it to be labor intensive for a vet to be at a table to run, as many machines as he can handle, probably 2 to 3, and use House of Pain to employ veterans with stability and all that stuff that we're talking about. So I give her the credit for it, because in speaking with her through all those nights, I'd be like, well, hon, we're never going to be able to beat that price. And if most ammo is what's the cheapest, what's the cheapest, what's the cheapest. I said, I know I can beat them in performance. I know we can do the output, but are people going to be willing to pay a couple pennies extra a round if we can get our mission statement out to them? And she says, I think it's a no-brainer. I think we can. So she kind of kicked me in the butt a little bit and said, go for it, go do it.
Wives do that.
Yes, very much so, very much so. And our children are all out of high school now, so we have a lot more time on our hands. So she's a huge part of the company, and we enjoy the heck out of it.
And that gets to the next topic that I was going to talk about. House of Pain is basically 100% veteran staffed. Is that accurate?
We're about 75% veteran staffed. Now, so we heavily rely on veterans here. That's our purpose. That's my mission, is to hire veterans. So the other people that are employed that are not veterans, they carry some sort of other attribute with them. For instance, Mark Abel. He was a preacher. He's a counselor. He's able to be spoke to about anything, and he's a genuine, fantastic gentleman. So he's here for a reason, right? If somebody needs to talk to him or whatever, he has my direction to just do whatever's needed and take care of it. Or even something as far as like Tyler, our GM. He has other skills like being a mechanic and stuff like that, you don't have to go to the mechanic and get your $400 X charged. Talk to Tyler, he'll take care of it. So all these guys serve a different purpose as far as if they're not a veteran, they have some other purpose to serve the vets.
And that's, when you hear me talk about the folks here at House of Pain and the veterans and the quality of the people who are working here, I am not overstating that. In fact, you can't see him, but Tyler is actually doing double duty as a cameraman for us today, making sure behind the scenes everything is working well. The mission that you mentioned with trying to hire the veterans and feeling that sense of gratitude for the sacrifices they made and the freedoms that we all enjoy here, and trying to move that forward in order to be able to give them a place where they can work, something they can produce to be proud of, and something that can go out to all of you that's going to work effectively for you. I just think is tremendous. It resonates with me, and the quality of the people working here could not be higher.
I appreciate that.
So in just a couple of minutes, we're going to start to tour the new facility here at House of Pain. But before that, I wonder, Sean, if you could let everyone know sort of where you see House of Pain as you're moving into the future, and what you're hoping for with the new facility here.
So the new facility here, we're 3 buildings and able to expand to as many buildings as we foresee in the future. We could add on many as we want, truly. And there's a house on property as well, which serves into some of our 501c3 things that we see to do in the future. Right now at this facility, we can make about 150 to 200,000 rounds a shift. With minimal investment, no new buildings or anything, we could be able to move up to close to 1 million rounds a day with a 3-shift run.
Wow.
So we're looking to steadily grow into that. We're heavily focused on the LEO market, the law enforcement market, which has been fantastic to us, supporting us. They love our mission statement. And we just keep growing and growing and growing, picking up dealers, and we have a new website launching at the end of this week, so that should look new and fantastic. If your followers could check that out. Be patient, hopefully there's no bugs, but you know how IT goes. I am not an IT guy, so don't blame me.
Going to be the same web address, hotmunitions.com?
It'll be the same address. We actually hired a company, Bitmotive, and they actually work with Black Rifle Coffee Company. We work closely with them too, and the site looks very nice. It's going to be well improved, and it's going to have a dealer portal for back end of the house for dealers to log on and just really streamline things from pulling us out of that garage operation into a mainstream ammo company, if you will.
Outstanding. And along the way, continuing the mission with looking for the veterans to bring on board to not only increase your production capability, but also to improve their lives.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to be in a place to where we can pull a veteran out of whatever situation they find themselves in and provide them stable employment with a decent job in a exciting industry, if you will, something they're familiar with, and even be able to provide them as much as housing, stability, and just a nice thank you and some stability in their life. And we find if you can keep them for about 2 years in a nice stable environment, they have much better chance of success down the road. And that's my heart. Like that's what we have started this for.
And that is fantastic. And now, are you ready for the tour?
Yes, absolutely.
Are you all ready for the tour? Let's take a look around.
Let's go.
All right, folks, so here we go with the tour. I'm going to be behind the camera, so you won't be able to see me, but Sean will be leading the way. And we've been talking here in the storage room, and we're about to take a step through the door into the new retail space.
Pardon the mess. We're still not open yet.
And in the very near future, these walls are going to be lined with firearms. We can also see the ammunition is already here, or at least some of it. And what do you expect for this, Sean, as you get it all stocked?
So right now you have UD and E checking in all of our guns from our old location and bringing them over to here. There's we have over 700 firearms they have to check in and get registered. And then those will be displayed all along the slat wall in the back that you're kind of looking at now. The front's going to be heavily hop ammo. And then behind you will be gear and extras and, just a little gun shop here in Hayesville, Ohio to make it easily accessible for people to come and fill up.
And we are about to walk into a new building, and this is what that we're coming into, Sean?
This is the packaging facility.
All right, I'll follow you.
So in here's a little bit of overflow storage. We do some packaging. All of our packaging will happen in here. Again, pardon the disarray. We're still trying to find forever homes for everything.
And what are we coming into now?
So after ammo is pressed, and we'll see that building next, it comes into here. All of our ammo will be polished and taking all the grease off, all the fingerprints off, and then it's oriented into trays. And then it's taken over to our packaging team, and they do QC on it from visual inspections. We case gauge them, and they pull out blems and crashes, and then we package it however the customer sees, whether it's in bulk in barrels or in retail packages.
By the way, for all you 38 super fans out there, here's a little bit waiting to be packaged and shipped. And when Sean's not looking, I might grab a few of these and stick them in my pocket on the way out the door. And on we go. What are we coming into next, Sean?
So this is the manufacturing. This is where we actually press all the ammo. It's going to be a little noisy.
So this is where it happens, everybody. You can see the machines and everyone hard at work.
So Tristan's running 115 grain poly tip right now, just a nice range ammo that we make. He's running 2 machines at one time. Pretty automated process. All he really has to do is keep up on the powder, the primer, the case, and make sure that everything's staying within spec. He'll pull 1 of every 100 rounds or 1 of every pack of primers out of this and go test it once he hits 1,000. So he'll manufacture 1,000, he'll take his 10 test rounds and shoot them to make sure they're all within spec. And we'll show you that range here in a second. But then just to make sure that none of those deviations are hitting through. So then once he comes back with those test rounds, he'll add the additional rounds to bulk and so on down the floor to QC and building 2.
And here's a close-up look at the machine as it is loading the ammunition. And much like all of the home reloaders, but just a lot faster and more efficient. And probably held to tighter tolerances. Would that be true?
Yes, these are very tight tolerance.
And this is the indoor test range here at House of Pain. And what all can be fired in here?
So we can fire anything up to a .338 Lapua. That bullet bunker will stop that.
Okay.
We have machinery. We're in the process of locating machinery that mounts to the floor in here, and it'll give us everything from pressures to velocities at distances not even in this container. So it'll take all the math into it. It'll judge it at different distances through a chronograph, and then spit out, through its computer ways, the algorithm of all of our ballistics and coefficients and everything for our rounds.
And if I understood you correctly before, you said 1 out of every 100 rounds gets tested, is that correct?
Yes, we test fire 1% of all of our rounds.
All right, fantastic. So there you go, folks. That's a quick look around House of Pain Munitions. I want to say thanks to Sean for having me here today, for sitting down for the interview and providing all the information to all of you out there. Again, Sean, thanks a lot. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Howard. I appreciate it. I appreciate all your followers. Again, some of our best customers come from your videos, and some of our best research comes out of you guys. We appreciate the partnership we have, and look forward to you guys helping us out and helping us grow into what we see ourselves becoming.
So there you go, folks. Until next time, good shooting. Bye-bye.
Thanks.